and welcome to the SmackDown review. I'm Adam Wilbourn from WhatCulture, joined by another one, Michael Hamflett from WhatCulture, to review everything that happened on this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown. But before we get into it, if you're a fan of this sort of thing, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon Music, and YouTube, where we do daily wrestling podcasts where we not only review SmackDown, but also the show formerly known as NXT 2.0. AEW Dynamite, AEW Collision, pay-per-views, premium live events. We have interviews, roundtable discussions, and a round of the week complete. A very good quiz, of course, on WrestleCulture. As I said, though, joined by Hamflett to review this week's episode of Friday Night SmackDown.
I'll level with you.
Go on.
I've completely lost sight of what we're doing, but I like it nonetheless.
Yes.
At this point, we are... Hang on. It's our salute to cinema.
Yes.
Which we're directed now at royalty out of respect, Queen Nia.
Queen Nia and microphone, yeah.
Who did nothing to earn his crown.
No.
Other than it fit his head. Which,
And
you know...
if the crown fits.
Well, it didn't on Shawn Michaels in 95. So I had to edit it out with the tournament when you watch it back on pay-per-view. But yeah. Wilbourn, listen.
Where to begin with this?
I'll tell you where. It's Monday. We always record this. And we're super grateful, by the way, that people are willing to wait a couple of days.
Yes.
Because there were some hard yards at various points on a Monday, having to recall what even happened on the Friday night / Saturday morning of a yet another terrible SmackDown in the latter days of Vince McMahon's horrendous final years. But worse than that, I think, was when crowds returned. WWE just immediately may as well have still been in the Thunderdome for all they were smashing that fake noise button. And SmackDown, quite honestly, didn't seem to change other than the weeks that Roman Reigns was there.
Yes.
And you'll disagree. I understand that. And you know what? I respect it. But 2021 felt like the wheels were falling off the old tribal chief ski a little bit. Rumours around him losing the title to Brock Lesnar at day one, 2022.
Yeah.
Sort of stand up when you review those old shows. And it's just like, you've got this one thing. This guy's held the belt for ages, and that's pretty much your one thing on SmackDown. Raw, terrible, absolutely terrible, but it'll always be Raw. Oh, God, Jeff Hardy just beat Karen Cross in like a minute. I have expressed on this podcast to you worries post-WrestleMania about the state of SmackDown and the layout and specifically the position of Cody Rhodes within WWE. But can I just say, as this week starts anew on yet another Monday, as much as this week, I kind of want to see the end of a long-standing blue brand. I've had 14 years of it and I'm absolutely sick to death. But this one, I want to celebrate more than any other wrestling in the world. Right? These colours right here, I don't want to see many of them by the end of this week, if I'm being totally honest. I want to look at, a map of the UK, hypothetically, and not see too much of this. When it comes to this studio and this job in this line of work, I want every Monday to be like this. I want every Monday to make Bob Geldof consider getting the Boomtown Rats together to rewrite the song and sticking Thursday in the day a week instead. I want and the last time that we had all these walls, people were asking for this, I want a referendum in 6 months, if SmackDown keeps up this form, as to which is better, Mondays or Fridays. Because the last 2 weeks, oh my God, right?
Oh my God.
Hottest post-WrestleMania angles of the year. Up there with hotter than half of pre-WrestleMania.
Yeah.
The hottest SmackDown of 2024, and 7 days later they attempt to try and top it, in the world's most famous arena, the Cathedral, the Mecca, the beautiful
home,
or your Madison Square Garden. I don't want this runaway train of excitement to stop.
No.
And it goes choo-choo right into Toronto ahead of another hot weekend in the Great White North. My only regret, if I can share one with you.
Two regrets. One of them is you're not there.
Well, yeah, there in person, yeah. But I can't be here next week. I have taken annual leave.
Selfishly?
Yeah, I've taken annual leave to attend a couple of events that I'm looking forward to do some various school-related things with my children as one prepares to leave primary school forever.
Wow.
I know, other family events, all that sort of stuff. And I couldn't regret it more.
So much so, he's not here on Friday. We're recording SmackDown preview on Thursday. Don't worry.
I just need a little more. I just need a little taste, just a morsel, just a little blue morsel of this Friday's SmackDown on account of the quality of last Friday's SmackDown and the SmackDown before that and probably the next couple to come. And basically every bit of fed on the road to SummerSlam. Look, I don't like to speak on behalf of the entire wrestling fan community, but I've read the tea leaves this Monday morning. I swipe X like everybody else. I go fishing around on Reddit. Is it fair to say, because I've been the last one to say this, and I've been the last one to endorse this, is it fair to say it's a great time to be a wrestling fan?
Yes.
Because a minimum of twice a week, I'm told, yes, it is.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I am buzzing this Monday morning.
To quote, I believe it was Raymond Holt in Brooklyn Nine-Nine who said, "Vindication!"
People just say we're a big pair of tits.
This was, yet again, absolutely incredible.
Oh, yeah. You're the host with the most, and you always send the questions my way. I'm going to fire one right back at you. Ooh. At what point, based on the last 2 weeks in Chicago and in New York, are you prepared to admit that this might be the best show of the week?
Ooh, that's a toughie. Because Tuesdays are running it pretty bloody close right now.
Right.
No other days. Raw's good, but beyond that, no other days. And to be fair,
they're gone now. So
Friday night last week was the best night for wrestling because over there the Outrunners faced Orange Cassidy.
Of course.
So
yep.
That's kind of everything's perfect.
We squared it all away.
Yeah. But I adored this show. I genuinely had to hold back because I wanted to be here because I always do this. I always get excited and message Hamflett on a Saturday morning saying, oh, this, and this. And sometimes I feel like we've had the conversations before we get in here. So I've held off on it. But I had a bit of a cereal analogy for you. I know you're a man who likes your cereal.
Yeah.
You know they do that like Captain Crunch. I think it's Oops All Berries.
Yes.
My comparison for SmackDown would be Oops All Goated. So
Madison Square Goated. Yes.
And before we dive into this, I've asked you to remind me about this, but I've actually for once remembered that we have from one of our brilliant contributors, and thank you to everyone who does this when they go to AEW or WWE or whatever. Panda Blair, Adam Wilton fought on X. Living his best life.
And mine, quite honestly.
He's in the States for work right now, and he's just having a wicked piss in Boston. Mm-hmm. He's having some amazing food that you can see on his X page. Mm-hmm. And also, he's sending me notes from SmackDown that I'm going to start with, even though it will cover stuff that, trust me, we will get onto. But thanks again to Adam for this.
Thank you, Adam.
Adam says, hey, mate, a few notes for post-SmackDown shenanigans. Fantastic night at the Garden. Post-show, the remains of Paul Heyman are scooped up and sent back on a stretcher, as I am still in Surrender Cobra.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The first two dark matches were Awesome Truth versus Pretty Deadly. Yes, boy! Fun little match. Match ended when both Miz and Truth hit the Cena 5 moves of doom for the win. He also got to see, obviously, awful that Damian Priest was unable to make this show. Genuinely gutted for him. Just travel issues, meaning he couldn't make it. So instead of a world title match, he got Jey Uso versus Finn Balor in a New York street fight.
All right.
Bro, let me tell you, Jey Uso's entrance, bro, never gets old, according to Adam Blair.
Yeet City.
17,000 people yeeting away was so much fun. Both the referee and Samantha Irvin got involved. Not too sad about Ricochet, clearly. Yeah. The match was a typical WWE dark match, plunder brawl, few kendo and chair shots, and the finish came when Finn missed a coup de grace, rolled out and got hit by a spear, through a table set up in the corner for the 1-2-3.
Yeah.
Post-match, the roller coasters music hits when you got all the pyro and stuff. Mm-hmm. He thanked the fans for coming out. He thanked Kayla Braxton, which is lovely, for her service and wished her luck in the future. We echo those sentiments, of course. And she got on the mic and thanked everyone for allowing her to be part of the WWE family. And then Cody in the ring talks about his dad and the origins of the story. And he got handed a bag, which featured the WWF belt that Dusty had ripped away from him in the Garden and posed on the turnbuckle. A fantastic episode of SmackDown, says Adam Blair. MSG is a cauldron of noise. 10 out of 10, no notes.
I I'm jealous, obviously,
Yes.
first of all. Thank you for that, Adam. Thank you so much. It felt it on television, and obviously the stuff you're describing is the stuff we'll never see, so grateful for that first-hand experience. On that, I have been at Madison Square Garden twice. I think I mentioned this on the podcast the other week. One was for the tour, because there was nothing on in my first ever trip to New York, but I was not going to not go. My second, fortunately enough, was to watch wrestling. Now, imagine, try and get this in your head, right? Two companies coming together for one super show, right? And one company kind of looking like it's really struggling against, like, match by match, you're like, oh, one company seems absolutely fine, the other seems in the mud. Now, imagine it in opposite land, because New Japan were the one on fire. I was watching New Japan versus Ring of Honor in 2019. Just a fantastic night. And I think, like, well, I don't want to put words in Adam's mouth, because obviously the product was so incredible, what he was watching. It was a fantastic show, that New Japan Ring of Honor Super show that night. But there is something special that everybody tells you about Madison Square Garden that you sort of have to experience for yourself to understand it. It's one of those intangibles. I felt it going to the ECW arena in Philadelphia as well. Buildings are living, breathing things, aren't they? They're really special ones. They're sentient sort of beings when it comes to live sport and live entertainment and the like. And just watching a SmackDown during this era is hitting different.
Yes.
Like, even when WWE went there, basically WWE would go there in the mostly 20 years where it was terrible and almost abuse its privilege in the Madison Square Garden, made it feel hot for the night. Like, the crowd was just so up for it.
Yeah, I can't name you many MSG moments, whereas one on this show will live with me forever.
Yeah. I'll give you one as a perfect example, because I talked about it in the preview and we got a version of it on the review. I wasn't exactly Mystic Megan coming up with it, but Kofi Kingston's dive onto Randy Orton, right? In 2009, that they then relived in 2019, because it's just seen as an iconic venue, and if you look up, you've got that gorgeous roof. But yeah, for years, TV tapings sort of stole a living taking place at Madison Square Garden. In this era, not only are you getting the majesty of the venue and all the history that comes with it, but you're getting a product that is hot everywhere, feeling at its hottest in its hottest buildings. So to do All-State back-to-back, you know, like the two home bases basically of WWE's hottest shows, even when the product's cold, and to arrive in those towns when it's piping hot for the, like, fed hot American summer, it's just a wonderful bit of scheduling. Last year's with the Bloodline was like an all-time ratings draw.
Yeah.
This year had what we're going to review later on, and you flash back, 4 or 5 years, and Sami Zayn sent out there to be chokeslammed by The Undertaker in a comedy segment. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's just different gravy, even when the product's bad. So the fact that we got to witness this era in this building, honestly, as a TV viewer, like, felt like a privilege, or like a sort of a bonus little PLE on the road to another hot PLE. I don't want, like, this to come across like we're doing our usual nonsense, our Fed's great, blah, blah, blah. And like I say, I imagine people have already switched off because they're sick of our sycophancy at this point. What I'm trying to put across is what I'd like to think long-standing listeners and viewers know I was also trying to put across in 2021 every Thursday morning, which is you watch this long enough to know that it isn't always like this. There's a serious message underpinning our complete bollocks and giddy, wide-eyed enthusiasm for this product. It is just not like this all the time.
No.
And it will not be like this forever. And I don't say that as a pessimist. I don't say that as a misery gut. And I don't say that as somebody that probably won't watch and try and find things that I like regardless. But right now, if you are not watching / engaged with this and are predisposed to enjoy it, if you are somebody that historically has enjoyed WWE's version of pro wrestling, like, breathe in every single moment of it, because it will not be there forever. And every week I feel like I ride a high with this show. At least one point, often with more, I ride a high based on this talent I like, or this talent I like, or this storyline development, or this bit of fantasy booking you can do. It, for me, offers just about everything at the moment.
I love it. I love SmackDown, and I have for a long time, and I've heaped praise even when you've been doubting it on the Bloodline story, because I think it's my favourite storyline ever, long-running storyline.
You're seeing more and more of that with every cool development, aren't you?
It's just taken there's so many more to come, obviously.
Yeah.
But this sort of was the personification of what I've been arguing for in terms of he's not a paper champion, he's a paper tribal chief.
Yeah.
And it was laid bare here, and yet you still think he's kind of blagging it, but it's a hell of a blag with the people he's got behind him on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gone are the days where, for example, next weekend, obviously it's SmackDown, Money in the Bank. I like it warm, don't like it this warm. And years ago, I'd have been like, well, it's SmackDown. All the matches are set. It'll just be, oh, I'm going to bloody get you, Bloodline. Oh, we're going to get you. Yeah. And then, some Money in the Bank people will probably get into it or whatever. Gone are the days there where I'll be like, I can probably just miss it and it'll be anything important will be recapped on Money in the Bank. Arguably gone are the days where I set my alarm to wake up early on a Saturday. I have a 10-month-old child who, to be fair to him, fair's fair.
Yeah.
Touch wood, sleeping excellently again.
You get away with it, don't you?
Yeah. But I still, screw my sleep schedule over because I'm like, well, guess I can go back to the way I was like before he was born, so I'll just stay up till 1 a.m. just pissing about watching YouTube videos or whatever. But now I'm like, do I watch a bit of Wheel of Fortune and then stay up to watch SmackDown Live because I want to be on X or witnessing because I can gather it the next day, but the reaction to this is just jaw-dropping.
Let's get across something else before we review the show and chronologically. Would you stay up to watch Wheel of Fortune, or would you in fact just stay up to watch UK television and then put TNT Sports on? Because I know what didn't happen on my feed this week, which was half of it being cut out or blacked out because of swearing in the aisles or whatever. I saw so much annoyance.
What was the best one? Oh, it was Bianca Belair was the best one, where it cut out. Nia Jax out, then suddenly Bianca Belair is spawned next to her.
Like the Fox broadcasting has an automatic thing inbuilt, like whenever I don't know if it's AI or human, but either way, the button gets pressed and then it's just, right, the easy answer is like complete black screen and come back on and then whatever you've missed. Not such a problem over here. For a change, being a fan in the UK actually has its benefits over our friends in America. So yeah, if we're not sponsored by one of those geo-block things or VPNs or whatever, but by all means get on the TNT Sports ticket because it's a cleaner edit than Fox. And does it not speak volumes that people are angry at what they are missing in WWE rather than what they're not seeing? It's like, oh, I can skip a bit. Like, gone are those days.
Jesus.
I don't want to skip a second of this.
I've rewatched this show twice in full, once for enjoyment, once to make notes. And then I was like, one more go around for Cody's promo and the main event segment because honestly, it is must see. Let's get into it.
Yeah, please. Sorry.
So we get the owner of the show. We get. I'm not going to use this button enough, and I'm still going to overuse it. Shot of the Manhattan skyline. Oh my god! I was there when you see people arriving, and it like you say, it just has that. I remember the shot of Conor fighting there or arriving there when they were doing the big New York UFC for one of the first times ever, and you're just like. Never can someone walk out of a lift and you go, I know where that is.
Yeah.
And I want to be, it must be so cool to just live that experience. And there's, Logan Paul with his Night, I like that t-shirt. His opponent, L.A. Knight. Yeah. Jay Cargill showing up. Sold out, world most famous arena. WWE coming home. At least one thing is. We get a recap of the excellent SmackDown from last week and the arrival of Jacob Fatu, of course. And then the Bloodline arrive. Paul Heyman already looking incredibly terrified, disheveled, just burnt out, not knowing what's going on. He's like, so where's Jacob? And he's not here. Yeah. I don't think actually even got an answer at this point. But they head out. We Want Roman echoes around the arena. But as they're walking out into the arena, on the Tron, we see Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton, and Kevin Owens showing up. They come straight through. Straight away face off with Solo, Tama, and Tonga. Immediately start brawling, of course, all around ringside. Owens gets up onto a railing and leaps onto Tonga Loa, sends him through a table. Eventually, Rhodes and Orton clothesline Solo out of the ring. Out comes the SmackDown GM, can't remember what his name is, and a whole load of security to separate everyone. That takes us to break. Who's going anywhere at that point?
I know.
We come back and the SmackDown GM's trying to talk sense into everyone. One of the security officials, you could see, very keen for this. He's like, now? Okay. Goes, hey, guys. Hey, RKO for you. The rest of the security fly in. They get their asses kicked. I think a couple of security guards got hit with a stunner. The bloke who sold the cross, sign him, Triple H. Whoever got crossroads by Cody, the security, no offense, we don't need Ricochet. We could take another one who can take mad bumps on his neck.
Like the red, not even the yellow one, the red spring in an old Sonic the Hedgehog game that really sends you. That's on top of his head.
It's amazing.
Like, ding, and then like continues in one fluid bounce out of the ring.
And they cut this amazing promo. They're all really fired up, Owens, Orton, and Cody. Owens says, "You must be dumber than you look, Bloodline, if you think we were just going to wait until Money in the Bank for a fight." Randy says that basically they've been a problem for 2 years. They put them on the shelf for 18 months. And at Money in the Bank, they're putting the Bloodline down for good. Cody says, "Oh, Bloodline, you think you only see victims in this ring right now? Well, I don't see that. I see a dangerous man, a WrestleMania event, and my friend Kevin Owens. I see a 14-time world champion and a first ballot Hall of Famer. The guy who got me in this position, basically, Randy Orton. I see a sold-out Madison Square Garden. I should be defending my world title. Cue Randy Orton look."
Yeah, had that little moment where he looks like he kind of wants to come in his pants and also kill somebody at the same time.
Anyway, I should be defending my world title against a worthy opponent. Instead, I'm fighting a war with a bloodline that I thought was finished at WrestleMania. This time, SmackDown GM comes out. He's got the cops. He's upgraded the security, basically.
New York's finest.
And they don't get into it with them. Cody just wraps it up by saying, "When I look at you, Solo, I see no boss. I see no tribal chief. I see no head of the table for the bloodline. All I see in you, Solo Sikoa, is a seat filler."
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god.
You all right?
Not really. I had another rush of blood to the head. Not up here. Huh? This was hot as balls, by the way. Just to sort of, for anybody that hasn't watched this, increasingly that's probably less with these big segments, but the crowd are going insane for all of this. Limbs. That's it. Last minute winner-esque limbs.
Jude Bellingham overhead kick limbs.
Limbs out the ass.
So we've got to enjoy it while we can.
Absolutely,
By next SmackDown review will be double G, double O, double N, double E from the tournament.
Boop, 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 Kane. Boop. Limbs. Like that level of limbs, right? From start of show, like Bloodline, here they are. Oh my God, the Bloodline are here. Oh my God, straight away the babyface here. Every bit of the brawl, every bit of the Cody Rhodes promo, wonderfully recapped by you there. I'm going to give credit to 2019 AEW here. It was like, hold my hands up, I was wrong. I didn't like Cody Rhodes in 2019, but I vividly remember we sat together, the three of us, and Sidgwick just felt like he was having an out-of-body experience watching Cody and friends go for the inner circle.
Yeah.
And I can't have been the only one that made that comparison in my mind. And I just thought WWE in 2019 was a million years away from being the company that could book an army of baby faces to basically immediately step to the heels that have beaten them up. I'm talking about the MJF wrapping the scarf around his hand that I believe we revisited during the revisiting of the nation's favourite game show last week.
We did indeed.
But yeah, that night, of course, when he wraps the scarf around MJF's hand, smashes through, I don't want to say if it's the door or the window, tune into last week's wrestling, we'll find out. And they just attack. They don't allow a door, or they don't allow the smallest of obstacles to get in the way of them beating the heels' asses, right?
In the words of, God, remember when we just loved him? Chris Jericho, I got a ticket.
Yeah, right? You can just about suspend your disbelief into thinking that wrestlers can only get other wrestlers when they're at work, right? You can allow, because of how episodic television works, and if you're a fan of all of this, that it does take 7 days, and if it was up to Cody and Kevin and Randy, they'd have got the Bloodline as soon as they've recovered on Saturday morning. But wrestling doesn't work that way.
No.
You got to make towns, and then when you turn up at work on a TV day, everybody's there. Like, so in your minds, in headcanon, they've been hunting for them, and now the Bloodline have arrogantly enough just walked to the ring and they've gone, right now then, you've just opened the door, the baby faces can strike, and they have done. This was perfect. This was pitched as Cody and Kevin and Randy showing absolutely no fear. They weren't to know that Jacob Fatu wasn't going to be there. They weren't to know that the sides were going to be even. They were more than happy to take this on as a 4 versus 3, and yet they were also able to show their dominance when the sides are even, which is important because it reminds you why the heels try and stack the deck. It keeps the baby faces over, because what you are being shown here, albeit briefly, is that in a fair fight, the baby faces can get it done. And that's why the Bloodline doesn't like a fair fight. It's why Roman Reigns never liked a fair fight when he was the tribal chief. It's because every time it was a level playing field, they were in trouble. Taking you to the apex of all of this at WrestleMania, when Cody has the ultimate field levelers in the form of basically WWE legends and everybody wanting to see what's right finally happen, right? All the good guys come together, that Avengers deal, whatever. Like, the whole point is there is absolutely no way the sides will not be even on this WrestleMania. Not again. Not after all these years.
Documentary drops on Wednesday.
Oh my God, and we will find time to talk about it,
Yeah.
right? So the arrangement of it was just flawless, and then the action itself, which is sometimes in WWE especially kind of a forgotten component. If they go to the trouble of actually structuring this as it needs to be structured, sometimes what gets forgotten is, well, what if the actual physicality doesn't hold up? It couldn't have been better. Like, this felt like a fight. This felt like a New York street fight. Far more than if a guy's swinging a kendo stick in the middle of a wrestling ring.
Yes.
Their brawl just happened to spill into the world's most famous arena on the night that the cameras are rolling. You believe that if this wasn't happening, they would have found a way together to fight. Of course, the night is structured impeccably to take the baby faces out of the building when it is time for the stuff in the main event, which is exactly what happened with CM Punk last week.
Yep.
He wasn't there to be Cody's plan B, and then look what happened to the baby faces. I love plotting and structure because plotting and structure is sometimes boring. Plotting and structure is sometimes formula, but plotting and structure creates a world that you can believe in. And when you were hitting the big moments and when you were hitting the peaks and the stories, you get stuff like last week and this week that are things that will be with you when the year ends. I haven't on purpose come up with that as like a criteria for what's good in wrestling, but I constantly grapple with what sticks with me. You mentioned about watching this 3 times, right? Gone are the days where my match of the year or my favourite matches are things I will watch double figure times. There's too much.
Yes.
There's so much wrestling now, we're lucky to have it. But that rewatchability thing is harder and harder because you can't make the time. The stories move on and you never quite get the context. Like, if there was a match at an AEW pay-per-view that I loved on a Sunday, I would want to at least rewatch it once before Dynamite because everything then stands to dilute its impact slightly, They are making moments, they are making television, and in some cases matches, but they are making a product that is going to stick with you, that is going to get you there, and if it gets you there, it'll get you there, and if it gets you there, it's going to get you down there, right? And ultimately, it's going to get you there, and we're seeing that evidence all the time as well.
Imagine if you got a ticket for Money in the Bank, and someone said to you, Cody Rhodes isn't going to defend the title on that show, and you were still ecstatic nonetheless.
Well, I wouldn't...
It's almost better than a Cody Rhodes title defense, this, because then a Cody Rhodes title defense, he ain't losing, is he, right now? You're not on Money in the Bank, no offense.
A lot of talk about them having like the hot hand and it being a hot product, and sometimes that carries everything else. And there's some truth to that. But like, if you had a WWE ticket to an event, whether it be a house show or one of these, like, you wouldn't sell it. No. Like, somebody would have to come at you with like an inordinate amount of money. You would have to extort somebody to be willing to give away your ticket because you want to be in this. But like, every week at the moment, I'm watching. I said this before WrestleMania. One of the reasons I was so excited is because all of this has happened and I haven't been able to touch it since Clash at the Castle. It's like, I want to be there for, we make the jokes, but like, I do regret not going to New Orleans to watch a promo because, oh my God, it was the promo of the year. Like, and now there's some contenders for that level of quality and you wish you were there. And that's how a product stays hot, is it keeps giving you those moments and it keeps showing you what it is you'd get if you too paid for a ticket.
So after all that, for possibly the last time, hey, Kayla! Tries to catch up with the SmackDown GM, forget what his name is, but he's busy, obviously.
Is that a rib? Like a last ever interview? No time to talk.
I'm glad I'm bloody leaving, if anything.
For me, I guess.
Orton, Rhodes and Owens jump back into their car. They've been escorted out of the arena, basically.
Yeah.
You caused enough bloody trouble for one night, lads. And there will be no more. And then we got our first Money in the Bank qualifier of the night. It was Candice LeRae versus Jade Cargill versus Tiffany Stratton. And who could have called this? Me. 2-on-1.
We got wrong-footed later on, though.
Oh, yeah. 2-on-1 with Candice and Stratton obviously teaming up to take on Jade. But she's too good eventually after getting hit with a double suplex by them. But she takes them out with suplexes and super kicks. Picks up LeRae and just throws her at Stratton at ringside. And then out comes Nia. Where are my manners? Queen Nia to confront her. And then, yes, as I said, if you're watching certain feeds, Bianca Belair spawns next to her or walks out to confront her as we go to a break. I
was a kid flipping Nia Jax the Bird for anybody that wasn't watching, and Fox's just choice was, get rid of the whole show.
It comes back with, again, 2-on-1 beatdown of Jade Cargill. But then, obviously, they can't bloody coexist, them two. Candice takes down Stratton with a clothesline, and LeRae spikes her with a DDT, but Cargill breaks it up. Stratton tried to do splashes to them each corner, LeRae got out of it, but immediately got hit with a big spine buster from Jade Cargill. They spill to the outside. Jade is targeted by Nia Jax, but Bianca Belair gets involved. And whilst all that's going on, whilst the ref is distracted with Queen Nia and Bianca Belair, Indy Bloody Hartwell shows up, posts Cargill. Bianca chases her out of the ringside. Whilst all this is going on, Stratton's back in the ring. She kicks out of her LeRae pinfall, blocks a lion salt, prettiest moonsault ever. 1, 2, 3. Tiffany Stratton is heading to Money in the Bank.
A good bit of business, this. Really nicely worked throughout. Jade Cargill needed a match like this.
Yeah.
The knives are out, and not unjustifiably so for specifically her execution. I don't think anybody is questioning the aura that she has, and 2 or 3 quite significant botches at this point aren't diminishing it.
No.
But what will happen is that if people remember... what I was saying in the opening segment cuts both ways. If people remember the botches and then you don't put in the sort of the grunt work to show that what happens there are the exceptions rather than the rules, people will just start to associate you as a botchy wrestler. There was nothing like that. Nothing went wrong here. She didn't put a foot wrong, and it was agented really well to protect her in the smart ways. So
Jade Cargill lost another match here.
Yeah.
No one remembers that.
But the way she was defeated as well was that it was total dominance had it not been for other parties. And crucially, the babyfaces did try get across it. It wasn't just that situation where it's like, oh, the heels interfered, but you knew they would, so why weren't you on top of that? Well, no, Bianca Belair was on top of it, and then forces conspired. Basically, this became a 4-on-2 rather than a 1-on-1-on-1, right? So already, this like superpower babyface team have been completely outnumbered by double the opposition, and you are kind of peppering in, albeit I don't think the payoff is a right now thing, but you were definitely peppering in that Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill collectively are kind of making more mistakes together than they would like to admit. Like little things are going wrong in a way that wouldn't have done a few months prior.
They're going to win on the go-home show. They've got a match on there. And everything's going to be fine, guys. But is it?
Yeah, they probably don't
Long
get
term.
those titles back. And at some point, Jade Cargill doesn't like the L's against the name. And Bianca Belair does say, well, look, everything was fine with me before you turned up, so what are we doing it? Like they are starting to show you where the organic seeds of discontent are growing from, rather than just tag champions lose belts feud.
Yes.
There's more meat on the bone to this, and even I think I expected there to be a certain amount of credibility to this feud, but maybe not quite as much detail. Match was decent as well.
Yeah.
I can't say
Right winner.
I can't say that about one of the ones later on the show, but yeah, right winner, decent match, good booking.
Backstage, you've got the champ Bayley and Naomi talking about the qualifier that Naomi's going to have later when Blair Davenport shows up, and as she's been doing in recent weeks, trashes Bayley and says, well, I'm going to win and cash in and what have you, and basically says, you got no chance of winning. I'm in the match, Naomi.
Do you know, I thought Blair Davenport was the strongest out of all three of these. I didn't think it was a particularly convincing backstage segment, but the Naomi telling Bayley without telling her, I want your belt. Like they're absolutely putting something in place here between these two. And I don't know, I wonder how much they can turn the heartbreak up if and when Naomi turns. Because right now it's sort of feeling like, I'm telling you, I'm calling my shot. If I win the briefcase, I'm getting the title. If I don't, I'm going to get it down the line. And Bayley's laughing it off a bit and all of that. But there's, a turn on the way.
Yes. She's going to have fingertips on that briefcase before Tiffany throws her off the ladder and
something like that.
Pretty means I'll have her off the ladder. What's right? Why not?
She's a babyface that already has a story that tells you, the viewer, that things haven't gone exactly she would have liked this year.
So Michin is in the office of the GM, wanting a match against Nia Jax, and he says, I'll think about it. And it's just bloody Piccadilly Circus in there. Street Profits show up. They want to fight the Bloodline, I think it was.
Yeah.
And he said, nah, they're busy with the acknowledgement ceremony later. And then Pretty Deadly Yes Boy show up. They want to do Pretty Deadly the musical. Shut up and take my money. And then the Street Profits are basically like, I got a show for you. We kick your ass, the show, basically. And that match gets set up, obviously, for next week or this week.
I mean, this was woeful, but earnestly very nice to have Pretty Deadly back.
Yes.
I feel like false dawns and all of that. Like, is this the time when we're like, finally got the Street Profits back on track? Here we go. Is it? Like, I feel like I've been betrayed by WWE when it comes to the pushing of the Street Profits, and I will, as a result, sort of reserve my praise for this match's existence until I can maybe see what might be going on.
I'd love to see, because obviously it's not happening at Money in the Bank, but DIY win the tag titles, carry them to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Street Profits cheat to win in Cleveland.
Cheap profits.
Like, they've dipped their toe. I did think they'd be a great heel because they're too good to deny.
I got more on that tag title match for the preview later this week.
Okay. Yeah. We get a progressive match flow recapping everything that's gone on with Logan Paul and L.A.
Yeah.
And then also backstage, Solo Sikoa is told by Paul Heyman, Cody, Randy, and Kev have gone. Where's Jacob Fatu? And Solo says, don't worry about it. He's too dangerous to be in this building. But hey, I'm going to make you my wise man tonight. The dread of watching an England game felt throughout this entire show.
Heyman was excellent tonight. He was so good on the show. I've been critical of him in parts and with other people as well. I'm not the only one saying it about how it felt more like a necessity that he performed the way he has done, but I've found him to over-egg it. Last couple of weeks.
Him crying. I forget what it's called. Is it the lay? I called it the lay, and I've found some notes here with someone calling it something else. It's a
Ula Fala.
Is that right? Apologies if I've got that wrong.
Ula Fala necklace.
When he burst into tears when he got handed. Where have you got that from? Have you taken that off his corpse? I didn't. Yeah,
bad guy.
If it was something I wasn't keen on or regularly watching, like some bad faith actors on social media, I get people being like, "Oh God, this is so OTT." Not for me. It's not.
Do you know what? As well,
sorry, I'm jumping all over the place here.
I said this when we talked about this right after Raw. Did I not say that it was a singular piece of it that The Rock handed to Cody? What if The Rock took it and has now handed it down to Solo Sikoa because that's the one dishing out the orders?
Wow.
Don't break my heart again, and he made Cody hold his hand.
Some people were getting excited because they thought Solo was wearing Fiend gloves. Did you see that?
No, I didn't, but
Jalen Brunson for the New York Knicks is shown in the crowd to get a pep.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's what I thought it was. Just, here's a sports star. That's during LA Knight's entrance for his Money in the Bank qualifier against Logan Paul and Santos Escobar. Logan Paul comes out.
Oh my God.
He's the best.
Well, he's dressed as the United States title. It was unbelievable.
Thought you'd like that.
It was unbelievable.
He's got a mic and trash talks his way to the ring. He's performing tonight in a historic arena. But to truly understand what it takes to be here, he's brought someone in his corner who's actually won in MSG. Out comes Tyrese Halliburton of the Indiana Pacers. People aren't happy.
Right. I want to do this at the end, but I just want to say this now. I don't want to be accused of being a hypocrite, right? Because almost every time a wrestling company does this, us Brits, as Mr. Bean looking asses, sort of just go, it's that Partridge gif, isn't it? Like, it's your sports guys. Cool, I'm not judging that, but like, we cannot relate. And I do the recap and then have some strong thoughts about why we're not hypocrites by both basically doing backflips for what we saw here.
Yeah, well, I think like there is a comparison to be drawn. It's just that sometimes when they come here, they don't really get it. Like they don't get how in Manchester or in Newcastle or in London, all over the country, Liverpool, obviously, all over the country, it's not as binary as there.
Yeah.
Like you could have a City player in a Manchester crowd who gets a big pab or who gets booed out of the building.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. If you brought out, Diego Simeone, right? Mm-hmm. In the midst of World Cup 98.
Yeah.
Like if then you did a Raw anywhere in England and a heel went, well, I think I know someone who's pretty good at, working out how to hobble the opposition.
Yeah.
Brought a Diego Simeone. He'd out the yes.
I love that.
Less so now because we like him as a fun.
I love where you went for that reference as well.
Atletico Madrid
something
manager.
buried deep within your soul about David Beckham getting sent off against Argentina and France.
Beckham was dumb as well, obviously, or Ronaldo after he did the little wing.
Yes.
Against Rooney at the 2006 World Cup.
Yeah.
I'm just you're in a
football-y place.
Yeah. Not for long. But
no, so like two basketball guys, and again, wrestling cameos, it's happened forever, sports people, whatever, and you're sort of, okay, like the big example for me, I couldn't have felt less for those guys at WrestleMania. You know, in the tag match, I didn't know. As a result, I couldn't care. A lot of people in the building popped huge.
Yes. I just, took it from the people around
Exactly,
us.
right? You can just infer. This was one of those cases where you're like, oh, right, so that's what this is. Like, and like I say, I thought
it was far better than the usual. This guy from this team's in my corner now. Like, they were factored into. Anyway, let's get into the match. Because obviously LA Knight immediately goes after Logan as the bell rings. Escobar's like, hey, don't forget about me. Tackles Knight, and they team up. Escobar hits LA Knight with Hurricane Rana, but then he gets sent out to the outside by Logan Paul. LA Knight gets Irish whipped and drop kicks Escobar, or sliding drop kick at least. Goes after Paul again, but he comes back with a modified face buster. Nice vaulting press to the outside, but he can't celebrate because Escobar immediately hits him with a suicide dive to take us to a break. We come back. LA Knight is sending Logan Paul's face into the announce table. Escobar cuts him off, though. Knight, I think, was attempting an avalanche Samoan drop, possibly.
Yeah.
But got counted into an avalanche Hurricane Rana instead.
Oh, my God.
Nice. Another modified facebuster. He modified facebuster to Escobar onto Knight, basically, which accidentally becomes a pinfall. And he's like, oh! Logan Paul, LA Knight go at it. He tries to hit that elbow of his, but it gets hit with a running knee from Escobar. Knight counters a phantom driver with a slam and then does hit his elbow. Stomps away on Paul. He gets hit with a phantom driver by Escobar, though. The crowd are just hating the Indiana Pacers at this point. Knight intercepted a fight between Santos and Logan with a super belly-to-belly suplex on Escobar.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Paul hit a swanton bomb and got a great 2 count. I think I may have got mistaken with my notes where we are in the match here. This was the bit where we got the hot tour spin on that thing.
There's been multiple counts of that in wrestling. I'll catch up with Vic Joseph. He was there first. That's what I say. It's not much of a heist when it's no longer in the zeitgeist.
So Tyrese Halliburton's there, as I mentioned, and one of Logan Paul's associates, let's call them, gives him the brass knucks, and Jalen Brunson's not going to stand for that. He jumps the barricade, teases a fight on the outside until referees say, remember how much you get paid by the NBA? LA Knight hit Escobar with a BFT. Logan Paul tried for a roll-up in amongst all this, but Knight reverses, rolls up Logan Paul, and gets the pin on the US champion. So not only has he pinned the champ, he's also punched his ticket to Money in the Bank. Afterwards, Halliburton and Logan Paul look like they're going to double team LA Knight. Jalen Brunson slides in with a chair, basically slides it to their opponents, but celebrity involvement, we'll allow it. He stands there, and it looks like they might fight until the heels back off to deafening boos, and LA Knight and Jalen Brunson celebrate in the ring. I just love the celebrity backup.
Just briefly touch on the booking of the match before we get to the celebrity stuff, right? Fair play. I thought all the LA Knight Logan Paul stuff existed to do another sort of cop-out 3-way finish where Santos Escobar gets the smooth route to Money in the Bank because the other two just can't stop fighting or whatever, and it would have been fine.
That's been the story of a lot of the qualifiers.
Yeah, and it felt as if they were protecting Santos Escobar by BFTing him into the dirt last week. He's just been pounded further into the dirt. So I guess it's their job to try and lift him out of it with whatever he's doing next, because he's kind of been made to look like a bit of a loser. So they've got a job on here with Santos. So there's that. But on the positive side of the booking, by giving LA Knight that win, as you point out, he now lays claim to this like a proper shot at Logan Paul, which for a long time we forecasted as to happening at SummerSlam. Beforehand, we were saying it could be a WrestleMania thing, and they've been able to delay it. And it potentially opens up a window for Logan Paul to try and screw him at Money in the Bank. You could see that, couldn't you? Pushes the ladder over or something.
Mate, I was just thinking there, every other person in this match getting taken out, and Melo winning Money in the Bank.
Everyone else has got a rival.
Bloodline takes out Jey Uso.
Yeah.
Andrade has had his issues with Santos Escobar. Chad Gable, Wyatt Six.
Yeah.
LA Knight, Logan Paul, and spoiler alert for the Raw preview later, Drew McIntyre and a certain CM Punk. Imagine Melo just like, well, everyone else is dead. And then continue. Like, it does work really well in his story of like, well, I'm the best. I won Money in the Bank. No, you only won it because they were so bad.
Just continues to be proof that I'm the best, in fact. So no, I really like the booking. Again, it feels like a plotting device, and it feels like you can sort of see where they're going long term. And this is not, compared to last year, this is not really LA Knight's year, and that's all right. But he's just going to get close to it again. And they've done a good job of, if and when he wins the US title, considering that he's already fought and lost for the world title against Roman Reigns, you kind of only feel like you're on LA Knight's journey now, which is quite smart. It feels like you're all the way back to the start, and they've done that very effectively. Let's talk about these basketball stars, right? You watch this with the sound off, and it might appear like a total clown show where the celebrities are getting like sort of too involved, and it's gone too pantomime, and it's at best in service to a few people in the crowd.
John Stewart, you don't really know what you're doing with the chair.
Yeah. With the sound on, or presented as it's supposed to be presented, this couldn't have felt more like WWE as a company had its finger on the pulse.
Yeah.
This is a building electrified by these two men coming together. Some I had to do a little bit of reading around, and I believe the heel guy won for his team against Knicks, maybe, that play at Madison Square Garden. So it is like he's just returning to the scene of the crime. So you've got like your local favorite versus the guy that was like most responsible for doing damage to your team. So like it's that fundamental bad guy, good guy sports stuff. But I just don't feel like old WWE would have nailed it. I think they would have, well, for a start, they probably would have babyfaced the heel, or like Vince McMahon's antagonistic style would have been like, it's great. Like go out there and just like throw basketballs at the front row's head or something. Really, really show them, really pound their dicks into the dirt. This was like a lovely bit of catharsis for a Madison Square Garden crowd that wanted to watch what they were being given. They wanted to see these sports stars get in the mix with the wrestlers in a match that wasn't without stakes and consequences, and yet did not remotely feel trivialized by the interaction with the celebrities. How many times could we have said, here was this match that meant something, but then it got completely derailed by celebrities or endorsements or zombies? Like, there have been so many occasions where a thing you were asked previously to buy into, you are then completely lifted out of because suddenly it exists on its own thing. This didn't. This didn't exist on its own terms. The sports stars integrated themselves within wrestling terms. That was what was going on here, and the fans couldn't believe that they were getting to witness it live. Like, this was absolutely booked for the crowd. Like, I have no problem saying that, like, it was a thing that was booked opportunistically for those people in attendance. But the key thing was the people in attendance bought it. Look, if half of this plays out to silence, then you've given these basketball guys too much rope.
Yes.
You've given them sort of too much kind of involvement when really it should have been about the wrestlers with a cameo. This was not that.
No.
People wanted more of it. When steel chairs are getting involved, it's like, oh my God, he's going to hit him. Like,
this is the perfect sort of crossover thing that will get reported on and won't put WWE in a bad light.
Completely. You know, like that. It just, wrestling doesn't get it right very often. But again, when the product is hot, you have the opportunity to get away with stuff. Maybe on a colder product, doesn't go down as well. But watch it back. The audience wanted to watch what they were being served, and it basically ensured that this triple threat was like a different flavour and a different feeling match to the others on the card, which is as good as not having the leg worked in 2 consecutive matches.
Yeah.
Oh, well, this feels different to the last one. Why? Well, because in that one, they worked a situation where there's partners helping interfere. In this one, we've got 2 billionaires from the NBA. Oh, yeah, they are pretty different, aren't they? Like, that's good booking of pro wrestling show.
Baron Corbin and Apollo Crews after this are fighting about backstage, laughing at Escobar's loss, and Melo shows up.
Thank you for that. This review's getting too serious.
As I mentioned, he's just a proper braggadocious twat.
Yeah.
I'm going to win Money in the Bank, he says. Put your money on Melo. And they're like, who the hell was that? Nice video tribute to Seeker as well followed this. Once again, our thoughts and prayers and all love goes out to the whole family tree.
It did in the building.
Yeah.
Amazing reaction. Great, really great video. Go out of your way to watch this. It's a very nice tribute.
A really nice slideshow of like great WWE moments at MSG after that, and a promo from Andrade saying he's going to win Money in the Bank. It's his destiny. And he's not going to take the briefcase. He's going to be taking everything. Yet again, making him feel just huge going into this.
They're getting there, aren't they? Yeah. They're getting there. Slow and steady, maybe.
Another Money in the Bank qualifier followed. Indy Hartwell, Naomi, and Blair Davenport. Naomi, no messing about, drop kicks both of them. Hartwell tries for a roll-up whilst they're teaming up on Naomi, and then basically used Naomi as a weapon against Davenport before she hit a power bomb. All breaks down at ringside. Davenport and Hartwell fight amongst themselves, and a double stomp by Blair on Hartwell, sends us to a break in the action. It was a nice spot when we came back. It was like a neck breaker on Hartwell whilst Davenport's prone.
Yeah.
Good spot. Series of splashes from Naomi. Hartwell comes back with some spine busters on both of them. Tries to stack them for the pinfall, but doesn't get it. There was like a rope-assisted pile driver by Naomi. Takes out Indy Hartwell, but she comes back and throws Blair Davenport into the steel steps. Jade Cargill comes out to get her own back for what happened earlier. Twats Hartwell, chucks her in the ring, and Naomi hits her finish. 1, 2, 3. She's in Money in the Bank.
This stunk. Like, the finish was what it needed to be to drive the story forward. Jade Cargill, immediately a proper babyface, works to get revenge and he's not going to tolerate getting screwed out or something. Just wait. Like, that was what you need to do for that Jade Cargill character. And Naomi winning, I think, is interesting. I think she, after the sort of the stuff that's been going on with Bayley, I think she does make for a good ingredient in that Money in the Bank as a potential winner, because you know that she would be willing to cash in on a friend to get it done. So there's like, you can buy that.
And it could be a personalised briefcase, and that's what I really care about.
Oh, like make it glow like she did the belt. Yes. Match was rubbish. Loads of like communication breakdowns. Wrestlers always say triple threats and multi-person matches are the hardest to work. Yeah. Head on a swivel and remembering things and all that sort of stuff. I've never taken a bump in my goddamn life, but this was just not well executed, kind of end to end, really. And was it just me, or was this like that very WWE thing where it's like, oh yeah, we've always said Indy Hartwell's kind of like Sid and Vader put together. Like they put in a load of spots here where she was like, she's not like, she's tall, Indy Hartwell.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't consider her like a who's a good example? Like, it took years for Charlotte Flair to work like a dominant wrestler in the division. And I think it's one of the reasons why her chemistry with Rhea Ripley is so good.
Yes.
Because it feels like there's a Godzilla King Kong energy to those two. And I think a lot of the time she'd wrestle like a Sasha or a Becky or whatever. And it was like, what? If this was a men's division match, we kind of know that physical differences matter.
Yeah.
And you have to do like big man, little man and stuff. And yet, because WWE had just done nothing with women's wrestling for decades, when Stephanie McMahon finally invented it in 2015, they never thought to like work out chemistry. And Charlotte Flair eventually realised who she was, and you see her physically and all that. Indy Hartwell's got that height, but nowhere near the physical dominance of Charlotte Flair.
That's fair.
And they asked you to buy her. And she was like, oh, we need to get her out of the way. Like, if anything, she like her and Jade Cargill, they could kind of have a mirror match. Could they? Like, I don't know. Like, maybe they could smash one, because that would excuse the 7 years of bad luck you'd get watching them fight every week. But not good, this, unfortunately.
But the right winner.
The right winner, and I guess they're kind of clinging on to Cargill and Bianca still need to fight and beat Candice and Indy.
That goes down next week.
So they were
Tag week next week.
Setting up the match for Tag week.
Street Profits versus Pretty Deadly, and obviously A10 and Dan Ander defend their tag titles against DIY. Like,
okay, week to week booking. But again, I don't really, like, if they're continuing to like seed a little split between the baby faces. Well, Indy Hartwell was the power threat we never considered. I wonder why. Because I've watched plenty of the tape and I haven't seen it until last Friday. So yeah, not great.
Yeah. Bit like me yesterday. Actually, Slovakia are a pretty good side. Shame going out to them. We're only 40 places below us in the FIFA rankings. Hey, we got it done.
They even do like an individual player versus player wage bill.
Oh, God.
It just wouldn't bear thinking about, would it?
They were listing it on the... Sorry, well, I promise I won't talk too much more about football. Actually, I won't promise that because it's always on my mind. They were trying to do like a rundown before the match even started. Gary Neville was like, yeah, you got like $500 million an attack force for England.
It's not a fair fight, is it? It's not a fair fight.
I wish someone had told them that $500 million's worth of players there. You can play like that.
Yeah.
But we won.
Got it done. $500 million winning ugly.
On to the next one.
Saturday.
And then home again.
Watch SmackDown. Get the football on Saturday night.
Smackers football Money in the Bank Saturday night. Heat Wave Sunday night.
This is perfect for you, isn't it? Because win, lose or draw, your weekend is taken care of by the Fed.
My anniversary on Saturday.
Oh, happy anniversary Saturday. Unless England ruin it. But then Money in the Bank fixes it. So happy anniversary to Wilbourns.
We'll be fine, regardless. And we've already got to that stage in our marriage now where just open discussions of like, should we just save money and not buy anything? Like previously, like, oh, I'm going to get you, it's paper, so I'm going to get you this, and this, and this.
What are you up to this year?
Wood.
What did I do for wood? Definitely not that. Leave that with me. I'll try and remember what I did for Wood. See if I can come back to it.
5 years. But thankfully, Anna-Louise likes football and the torturous experience of watching England just as much as I do.
Oh, fair enough.
We've got Saturday evening sorted. So I mentioned DIY fighting for the tag titles. After that, Byron Saxton's chatting to them. Ciampa brings up their history in Toronto. There's Austin Theory, though, and he talks about what happened a couple of weeks ago. Gargano says, we weren't aiming at you. Waller pulled you into the line of fire. Austin Theory's like, Grayson Waller's my friend, and Gargano's like, he's not your friend. But then here comes Grayson Waller. Big brawl. I'm going to
save some thoughts for the preview. Tune in on Friday to listen to how I think that might go down off the back of this promo. It was a wooden, like a Rubik's Cube puzzle thing. My wife loves puzzles. She's way smarter than me. But like one of those ones that theoretically you can't solve, where like once you take the pieces apart, you can't get them back together. And it takes not quite a Rubik's Cube, but like sort of there's 6-7 different jagged things. And then once you explode it, it's like, well, that one doesn't slide in that one. So then you just end up like having one hole left and you just get hammering. Like that's how I would do it. Like, done it. Like that. It is. I caught my youngest peeling the stickers off a Rubik's Cube to... Is that stupid or is it actually smart?
Yeah, don't work hard, work smart.
Yeah. And he's good at maths as well. Apparently you need a maths brain for a Rubik's Cube, but he's not quite put those two things together yet. That's all it is. Apparently it's
on the floor and put it back together. That's what
it's an algorithm thing apparently, but I can't figure it out.
Yeah. Right hand and left.
I don't know, yeah. There is something to it. When you see Speed Cubers, you're like, right, this isn't a puzzle. It's there's just a mechanism to this, but I can't.
I prefer those ones where they have to stack the cups.
Yeah, oh yes.
They're the best.
They're great.
There you go, Brian.
Yeah. Cup stackers and speed cubers. That sounds like something Logan Paul would miss a SmackDown for, doesn't it? Hey guys, I'm at the Prime Speed Cubing World Championships. Taking me 4 hours. Why? Because the great taste of Prime. We still the energy boost.
SmackDown's so goated. We're so busy with it all that we haven't tried to break your world record yet.
Yes. Well, world record, I've checked the times, that is not possible, and I show nothing but respect and love to the people that can do it in something like 11 seconds. But there is a challenge about eating 3 Jacob's cream crackers in the UK. Graham crackers in America? I don't know. Like saltines, possibly. Square, very dry, as in my kind of thing. Snack, 3 in the course of a minute with no drink or any kind of lubrication. No Kinder Bueno spread. Available from Asda. That's the best one. Not the little one, not the Asda specially selected, not the Marks and Spencer's one, and definitely not the Tesco's thing that is masquerading as a Nutella, let alone an inside of a Kinder Bueno. Get yourself to Asda and get the chocolate praline/praline Dynasty spread. It's like a lighter shade than the Nutella chocolate spread. Try it by dipping a whisper in it in something I call the inverse Bueno.
Very nice.
Instant Blumenthal exploded Kinder Bueno.
Love that.
You've inverted it, right? You've got the Bueno on the outside, chocolate on the inside, and the chocolate's thicker, as opposed to that thin, like kind of pathetic Kinder chocolate that houses the Bueno sauce inside. Try that. Spread it between 2 chocolate Pop-Tarts. Did that. And then last night, because I am kind of a foodie, as you might be able to tell, we started watching season 3 of The Bear last night.
Oh, I need to watch this.
Right, and obviously when you're watching The Bear, it's obviously these beauty shots of incredible food. So you need to have something on hand, otherwise you're going to snack irresponsibly because you just see it and it's going to make you sort of make bad choices with your diet and stuff. So I was like, right, get across this straight away. Just jar, spoon.
How's the diet going?
Starts today, and that's why I finished the jar last night.
Finished the jar, brilliant.
Last night. Bought it on
Wednesday. We've agreed, right, first of the month, that counts as an official start date to try and get into good shape for...
Who knows what?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows when we'll be back in front of crowds, We'll all, I
don't want to go to a double chin disco. I want to go to a sweet chin disco.
Keep your eyes peeled. And your ears. But yeah, we both had the agreement of, so the diet starts tomorrow, so probably... eat all of the bad food that you own in one evening.
Smash the cupboards.
Text me saying he was polishing this off. And I said, cool, I'm having my leftover Domino's with, I bought a 4-pack of blueberry muffins because I knew I had 4 days left until the...
It's like 11 o'clock at night. Like, the worst time. Thinking like, I might have an energy boost to watch the first hour of Forbidden Door, something like that. Just give me something now.
I was staying up to rewatch the highlights of that bloody England game. Why? Just sit and watch the last 3 minutes of... the game. Oh boy. Anyway, main event time.
Oh my God.
Bloodline acknowledgement ceremony.
Sugar rushes.
Out comes Solo Sikoa, Tama Tonga, and Tongaloa. And they were recapping the chaos that kicked off SmackDown. Paul Heyman does his usual spiel, and Solo, a la Roman Reigns, just does the handout. Come on, hand it over. Fans desperately want Roman Reigns. They're not getting him yet. And Solo takes the mic, introduces the newest member of the Bloodline, Jacob Fatu. He comes out, and I'll swear that man was 10 foot tall.
Yeah, incredible. Like, they get a lot of stick. If this is the work of Def Rebel, is it their second best work ever after the Roman Reigns theme? Because this theme is fantastic. This entrance is incredible. The packaging of him continues to be
Oh my God.
perfect presentation of Jacob Fatu. Perfect.
Paul Heyman, if he's not your cup of tea, that's fair enough. He is mine. And his incredulity, I think is the word.
Yeah.
As Solo said, acknowledge me. Because he's gone full head gone. I'm the best. I'm the leader, basically, here. The crowd are just booing him out of the building. And he asks the Bloodline to acknowledge him. Tama Tonga acknowledges him, speaks a bit like Samoan, I think it was. Says he acknowledges him. Same with Tongaloa. And then he says, my enforcer. The enforcer now has his own enforcer.
Yes.
Jacob Fatu, acknowledge me. And I thought he'd just say, I acknowledge you. But it was great. I think he shocked Solo. Shocked him, I mean.
I'll level with you, Wilbourn. I'm really scared.
Yeah. Solo, I love you like a brother. I acknowledge you. How can you be scary acknowledging someone?
I'll be like, thanks. The way Solo was holding the mic out as if when Roman would ask for it. So he's like, just again, not it. And then waits for it to return. Nailed it. Solo's best performance in this role thus far at the exact right time.
Solo holding the mic near Jacob Fatu, like you get your kids to hold their hand open when they give in like food to an animal. Don't close your fingers, they'll bite them. Right? And then he says, White man or Paul Heyman or whatever, time for you. I think he said, I'll swear he said, this is your one chance to live.
Yeah. Aye. He's not sort of hiding where this is going unless Heyman makes the right
Acknowledge me or die.
In all seriousness, right, because this is really fun to joke about before we get to the serious stuff. Last week we said it. They've put it out front that Heyman doesn't want it. Like, take me with you at CM Punk. And then everything that got said afterwards. They can't, like, it's not even a case of watching the television. The people are out there in the ring as Heyman saying, don't like this anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they couldn't continue this any longer without Heyman sort of saying, right, okay, I'm scared for my life, but yes, I acknowledge you out of fear. It was that or this.
Yes. So he says, it's your one chance to live. Heyman is distraught at this point. And yeah, just to top it off, they pull out from a bag the Ulafala, the red thing, and basically says, put it on me. Heyman, he's like, how on earth did you even get this, let alone
That's great. That's such a cool detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's such a cool detail. Like the panic in Heyman at that point, it's either, as you say, they've basically grave robbed following Roman Reigns' defeat. My theory that maybe it's something to do with The Rock, the idea that Heyman believes he understands how things work in their Samoan wrestling family and the certain rules that you have to adhere to. And yet, here is this man.
Can't answer your phone if you're dead.
Yeah, this evil man has suddenly got possession of it. This item becoming like more than just what it already was is really impressive. Wrestling fans, and I include myself as one, will buy something if you sell it convincingly. That's all there ever is to any of this. I just want to be sold it convincingly enough by the people that are involved in it, and then I'll buy. If they buy it, I will too. And
I think I'm going to buy myself an Ulafala off the back of this.
Amazon is going to do incredible guns in these fake Ulafalas.
So yeah, tears pouring down his unshaven face. Paul Heyman says, Solo, I love you. And the crowd, his babyface Paul Heyman, which is an incredible achievement. They go, no, don't do it, Paul. He says, and I acknowledge that you are not my tribal chief. If the roof hadn't come off it already, it explodes at that point.
And do you know what, right? Before you get to the brutal ending of all of this, neither of us thought about it when we talked about the things that could happen in this. Maybe we'd casually had conversation about the day when this sort of event occurs. Nobody anywhere in our space went, Oh yeah, New York. Like,
Yeah,
he
didn't put it together.
He begs for it in Chicago because Punk is there, and it's like, well, this is the one place. Punk even referenced it. I'll let you off with this, even though they're chanting Roman Reigns' name in my city because it's you. And then it's New York City. You're picturing him in his little New York Yankees baseball cap. It's his town, and this is where it happens to him. It's not that big a jump from Punk, like Drew getting the heat on Punk in Chicago.
Yeah.
They're picking the right places to do the things they're doing to maximize the impact of the things. I fucking love the Fed.
You can see, as I said, I've watched this numerous times, the nostrils on Solo flaring as
Brilliant.
he's like, I think I'm going to have to kill the wise man.
Yeah.
And he Samoan spikes him. As if that's not bad enough, they send Jacob Fatu up. Huge headbutt splash on Heyman.
He looks tiny in the ring, doesn't he? Getting mauled by these guys. Just tiny.
And he's like he's like he's been in a car crash. He's stumbling around.
Yeah.
And as if that was, as I said, if that wasn't bad enough, they drag what's left of Paul Heyman to ringside and clear the commentary table and get him up. Shield-esque, some might say, for a powerbomb. I know I say sometimes it's better when the table doesn't break. This was the best one because it exploded and Paul Heyman sort of went backwards onto his neck at the same time. And you thought, I kill a guy at that age.
Yeah.
And they put their Ulafala around Solo's neck and he stands over alongside the rest of the bloodline. There's Jacob Fatu. There's Tongaloa. I forgot to mention this. There's Tamatonga, a brilliant new T-shirt. I love it. Oh, he's the MFT. And that text, I've never seen it before in my life, but it just looks great.
Do you think Tama is going to end up being one of your best friends?
Well, if he wasn't already. I mean, he choked out Phil Chambers when we were doing a live podcast, if you've forgotten.
Who is Law?
But yeah, that was ridiculous.
That's back, I guess, then, by the way. Because they kind of haven't said that for about 2 months. So it's like, oh, yeah.
It's either that or it's just a funny bit of like, this will wind them up over there.
Yeah, well, we're here.
But yeah, they all stand over the corpse of Paul Heyman to taunt, get FU Solo chants as the show goes off the air. And one of the best episodes of SmackDown since, last week is concluded.
Yeah, one of the best angles in 7 days. Like this, what a performance by everybody here. The right week to do it, as we said. The best time for Solo Sikoa to have his best night in this role, and maybe the story's part of that. Maybe the willingness to step over the line and not do it in that way that had any kind of like delicate thought process about it, which has kind of been the point in this bloodline. You have to, for the weeks now, you've had to buy in quite willfully. You've not necessarily, I've just said it, you've not necessarily been sold the threat of the bloodline. You've kind of been asked to buy it.
Yeah.
And now, over the last 2 weeks, specifically, not coincidentally since Jacob Fatu's arrived, you are no longer being asked to buy, you are being sold. And the difference is huge and can't be understated. I am the sort of fan that will buy in sometimes when I'm not being sold to, and it's all done out of hope and expectation and all of these sort of things. And I think episodic wrestling kind of demands that of a viewer, and why I also get why sometimes people just think, nah, not for me. I'll wait until the payoffs. I'll wait until the big moments, and, more power to you if that's you. But when you have bought in, and then when you are sold to, and you feel that difference, and you get what feels like the vindication from you buying in the first place, where you're like, it's kind of, like that ground floor feeling of the payoff. There's nothing like it, is there?
No.
Like I believe you were kind of big into Roman Reigns winning at WrestleMania 39. It's never come up, but like that payoff at WrestleMania 40, it's different for you, feeling like a sense of vindication. I'm sure the WrestleMania 40 documentary will prove that it was definitely on the cards and never going to change. But this was an example of that. Jacob Fatu has been a game changer in that respect, but Paul Heyman, for the first time really, nailing his colours to the mast so openly and open-heartedly. If you recall, when it was him and Brock, it was like a game of deception. He was trying to play both sides until he was convinced effectively that Roman was the right call. And then it was like, right now I'm definitely turning on you, Brock. It was like he took a bit of a kicking off Roman because he almost dared to show lack of loyalty. And that was the realization moment of, I'm going with Roman, but I might as well hang on to Brock's coattails for one last title run while I still can. So he played that game. He did it with Punk to Brock all the way back in 2013. So he's got this. He did it with Big Show and Brock. He's got this history of like trying to play both sides until he gets what he wants. And this is the first time he's kind of outright said, "Oh, I want him." Like old Paul Heyman would have been like, "Right, out with the old, in with the new. I'm with you now. Like this is where the power lies, and I just want to cling on for dear life." The fact that you got to see him show that vulnerability, like a deep love towards Roman Reigns, not only, and I've said this about other elements of this story, not only puts over this new faction as its most evil version, not only does it put over Paul Heyman for the first time and use the Pop as a judge as an actual earnest babyface, but it puts over, and it is amazing, quite frankly, that they've done this 2 weeks in a row, Roman Reigns, the tyrant of the prior 4 years, as having like a shred of goodness still within him. Why? Because you're about to bring him back as like this earth-shattering babyface.
Yeah.
Now, we've had 2 weeks where Paul Heyman has basically been willing to die for the cause of Roman Reigns.
And sort of revealed that he did have some rules.
The Punk detail was amazing. Like, Paul Heyman simply asked, "Can you not go for Punk?" And Roman was like, "All right, wise man, I respect you enough." Like, you could have never revealed that when Roman was on top.
No.
Because that's not the guy that's abused Jey Uso
What?
and obliterated Sami and Kevin. You can't think that...
We run this show except for CM Punk.
Yeah. You cannot reveal
No.
that detail. And you cannot give this character, this dominant, as I said, like Homer Simpson made of golden jewels. You cannot reveal this figure to have some of the empathy left that existed before he became the tribal chief. You reveal it now when you've got buildings every week, hot, sold out Fed buildings every week going, "We want Roman." That's when you start revealing, he's not a complete dick. He meant well here, and he meant well here, and he wanted to protect this, and he wanted to protect that. And then, as I keep saying, when the day comes, when he says yeet, and when he does that, and it's going to be like, right, yeah, there was that guy, but he felt the pressure of being, now they just reframe it. He felt the pressure of being at the head of the table. He had to lead with violence. He had to lead with what he believed was a just cause at the expense of everything else, because that's the pressure of being the head of the table. You just attach all the law to it. Solo,
The main Fed winner of the family.
This is the radio background, manifest and podcast all these years later. That's why Solo's gone about it a different way.
Yeah.
Because he like wants to rush it. He wants to cut to the chase. He doesn't care for the prestige of it, really. He cares for, he's seen that he's been first hand to the power without really having to earn it and search the soul like Roman Reigns did. Like, this is cinema. For all that people rip the piss, in that what you're watching is like a, 4+ year story that changes shape, that asks you to think different things that you previously felt steadfast about and things like that. Like, it is pro wrestling, it's an angle, it's a story. It's not really cinema, but it is using cinematic methods to tell a story on television, which is what it should do.
And I never thought about this before. Now you get the double pap. Because on the week prior to whenever Roman's coming back, if Solo is interrupted by Paul Heyman, ladies and gentlemen, doing his usual thing, and then you announce, by the way, next week, one of my friends comes back, the real tribal chief's here, and then think about the number that show's going to do. If you've pre-announced via a returning Paul Heyman that'll already give you a rating spike anyway of like, Heyman's back, well, that means...
Try this on for size. Imagine Paul Heyman, neck brace and all that in the chair. And, the Bloodline.
I love it already.
Yeah, the Bloodline have just been like, he's on the big screen. The Bloodline have just been fighting with Cody and the Goodies. And Paul Heyman says, like, "I've seen what's gone on. And next week, you need to be concerned. And everybody needs to be concerned because my best friend is returning, right?" And the SmackDown, you get the Bloodline out and they're like, "Oh, they're showing no fear." CM Punk comes out, he's helping the Goodies because he was going to be Cody's plan B. And you get this great brawl and the commentator's like, like, Paul Heyman said his best friend was coming. That's in the opening segment, because the end segment, "Oh, Jesus, the best friend was Roman Reigns all along." Like,
Oh my God.
this is it. You've got like Cody and the Goodies versus the Bloodline. You've got like CM Punk's like kind of sideways involvement, because that's for later down the line, because the Drew thing is the right now. You've got baby faces in general, the likes of a Jey Uso, who will always be like linked to all of this, of course, when we talk about the Bloodline Civil War, the possibility of War Games, all that sort of stuff. This is before we even get to the return of The Rock next year, who could be the one pulling the strings in all of this as part of taking the title from Cody because he broke his heart. We haven't even yet discussed the fact that one of these days Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns are going to shake hands and the entire world and my balls and dick are going to explode. This is it.
Yeah.
This is it, and we are living through it.
Loved it. Absolutely adored this episode of SmackDown. But let us know your thoughts on it in the comment section below or on X at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. You can follow both of us. You can follow Michael Hamflett at
Michael Hamflett.
Follow me at Adam Wilbourn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling wherever you get your podcasts from for daily wrestling podcasts, the Raw preview, and our review of Forbidden Door coming your way later on today. But for now, this has been the SmackDown review where we talked about the Bloodline attacking, hospitalizing even Paul Heyman. Chaos in Madison Square Garden with Cody, Kevin, Randy, and the Bloodline again. Tiffany Stratton, and Naomi qualifying for Money in the Bank alongside L.A. Knight.
Yeah.
Who, alongside Logan Paul, had some celebrity backup this week.
The SmackDown review. It's got all this and so much more.
We'll see you soon.